Yeah, actually, I want to. What I'll say as well, and I think this is going to be it's a great transition to the next tweet as well. Is it's actually crazy because I didn't realize the whole thing about the female gamers. Like I kind of understood the female gamers prefer playing on mobile just because it's more accessible. Like you say, it's they don't need to sit down. Like I feel like guys are more willing to be like, yo, let me sit down for like 2 hours in game. Whereas a female is
Yeah.
more like, oh, let me just kind of knock something out and go do something. But I didn't realize how big that was till I moved to China. Man, like the females here, pretty much every single one of them plays like they're addicted to
Re-
this stuff. Like it's crazy.
Really?
Like it's I've never seen anything like this. Like they legitimately for fun. Like what they actually do is like instead of hanging because they all a lot of the young adults here still live at home with their parents just because of the culture. So for fun, what they do is they go down to like a bubble tea. I don't know, a boba cafe. I don't know what you guys call it. We call it bubble tea, boba. It's like the little milk tea with little bubbles in it.
Mhm.
Okay.
So they'll go down to these cafes at like 11 p.m. at night, and they'll all just be chilling outside. They'll be all with their friends. They wouldn't be talking, but they'll all be playing like League of Legends or something on their phone with each other. Like it's the wildest
Mhm.
thing. I've never seen this stuff in my life. So I don't think people have realized how crazy this is and what the adoption is like. And the reason I say it's a good transition is because I think a lot of people haven't noticed that or haven't noticed this adoption, and this is why we get tweets like this. Annie, this is you. Actually, that was a pretty good transition, right?
Yeah, that was good.
Mood.
And yeah,
Annie, I'll let
I'm
you
gonna
take this one though.
no, you're good. It's probably a good thing people can't see my face because I just roll my eyes when I saw this tweet the first time. And I appreciate Crystal bringing this to our attention. She tweeted it out.
Yeah, shout out
So
Crystal.
so Cointelegraph predicted that GameFi as an industry is going to see a $2.8 billion valuation in 6 years. So interesting,
I can
given the
take that
tweet
off.
that
Yeah.
we just shared, as there's over $8 billion in investments in
Yeah.
Web3 gaming that has already launched in the past year and a half. So they're and just to be clear, their thesis as they presented it was that Web3 game is going to grow over the next few years. So even though from a data standpoint, what they said is it's going to shrink to be a third of the total capital that's moved into this.
Yeah. Essentially, they're calling us out and saying that we're worse than the actual government. We have now worked as efficiently as the government
30%
and burnt that
valuation
much cash.
on the
Burnt
capital.
that much capital.
Yeah,
And that was in
it's
6 years. 6 years, 2.8 billion. Yo, we on a
Yeah.
negative.
Should have flushed it down the toilet.
Better use of cash, yeah.
Just toss half of it out the window and burn it, and then we'll just keep the rest, and we'd be better off.
Yeah.
Now, so I think this illustrates though, and this is Cointelegraph. This is a company that should know better.
Yeah.
So I in my mind. And I kind of excoriated the entire tweet on Twitter. You can go check it out if you want, but it's ridiculous. In general, we're so early to the space. People don't really have a good handle on the actual investments that are going on. I think partly because it's so difficult to follow all of the projects. The communication through these nascent game development studios is all in private Discord servers. But before, if you were like looking at what's being built on the internet back during internet adoption era in the late 90s and early 2000s, you could actually go look online at web pages and see that, and there were aggregators that had all that information. What's happened now is if you want to figure out what's going in Web3 gaming, you've got to join 60 different Discord servers. Yeah. You're going to get pinged by some of them, every 5 minutes, and just mute the whole thing. And you're going to have to figure out how to allocate your time to actually stay aware of what's going on. And so I think part of the gap is we're not going to see real mainstream adoption until some of these infrastructure providers for education, information, content curation actually pop up. So, Arcade is a good example of a platform that I think is going to be serving this area. Polymos, and then some of these other just infrastructure products like IMX that are going to be able to aggregate all of these games in a single point of view where you can jump onto their platform and see these are the 70 games. You can watch gameplay, figure out what's going on. That's going to be necessary before you really get people that understand the space well, because right now it's too decentralized and fragmented to really
Mm,
get a good thesis built up.
yeah. I just can't believe they got it so wrong. Like, I just don't know what they're looking at to be so far off the mark. It's quite absurd. I wish I could ask them, be like, yo, what kind of data were you guys looking at? But I think,
Yeah, let me
yeah,
ask. Let me ask Will. I'm curious because I know of the three of us, you're a little bit newer to the Web3 space
yeah.
in general, but have a lot of gaming experience. So, like, tell us,
Right.
how has your experience been trying to get up to speed with all of these projects and what's going on?
Actually, just what
Well,
I was going to ask as well.
yeah, you pretty much nailed it there, Andy. Like how hard it is to find information because me being like jumping into Web3 and wanting to know all about the cool games that are coming out and that are upcoming. Um, it's hard. Like I'm overwhelmed, and in the beginning, I really struggled because like I would go on YouTube, I would join the Discords, I would be on Twitter, and I would find all these different games. Like this is a cool one, this is a good one. I love this game. This game is pretty dope, and this one seems good too. And then I'd forget half of the names the day after, and I
Yeah,
joined all the different Discords, and my Discord has never looked the same. Like it's
Yeah.
nuts. Like
yeah,
like so many Discord servers. And it's really hard to find that information. You can look on Twitter, but if you want the real alpha, which I do as a content creator, you've got to be active in those
Yeah.
Discords. And it's just so hard to find the news and find the information. And yeah, that's maybe that's why Cointelegraph got it wrong. Although, like you said,
Yeah.
they should know better. But that's also, like you
yeah.
said, why people
Mm,
maybe are like not valuating at where it
Mm.
should be at the moment
yeah.
because there's so much promising things in Web3 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is
Yeah.
clearly Cointelegraph turned their notifications off in Discord.
Obviously,
Someone's
they
got to
muted
turn those back
everything.
on. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yo, I wish we had more to disagree on, but yeah, honestly, I agree with what you guys are saying. I think like one, Coin Telegraph should know better. Two, I get that the hard thing is keeping up to date with everything on Discord. Like Annie, I don't even know how you do it. Like I know you're in contact and in a whole bunch of different projects. I'm in like three or four. I try to give all of my focus to three or four, and even that is hard for me to split that up evenly. So that's crazy. But yeah, like I think with Coin Telegraph, 100% that is where they're messing up. They're not actually exposed to as much as what's going on. I think they just need to develop a better team, like really kind of have specialists in certain projects or like to cover two or three projects. I think that's the only way to get around it. But I mean, who knows? They could be right. We could be valued at 2.8 billion in 6 years. Highly, highly unlikely. And